Hi Stampers, this is Brenda Keenan with Keenan Kreations, and today I'm going to show you how to make a window card using the Rooted in Nature stamp set from Stampin Up. We're going to use Cajun Craze and Rich Raspberry, and I think they need to be re-inked, so I'll show you how I re-ink my stamp pads. So I take the re-inker and I just kind of squeeze it from top to bottom and then from side to side. And you can see how quickly it's soaking into the ink pad. That shows you that it's thirsty and it needs to be re-inked. You don't want to over ink it, so just go very lightly top to bottom and then side to side. Now ideally you would let this sit overnight and have time for that ink to spread across evenly, but we don't have time for that. So I'm going to take a small acrylic block and I'm going to press that ink into the ink pad. And we're going to repeat for Rich Raspberry. Now I'm going to use a base of Rich Raspberry, and this is your standard 8.5 by 5.5 and scored down the middle at 4 1/4. We're going to use a layer of Cajun Craze, and this one is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. This is the Nature's Poem Designer Series paper. This is cut probably about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the Cajun Craze, and this is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Now I have a hard time sometimes getting things exactly centered, and I don't know if you can tell, but this one is not perfectly centered. So I figured out a trick to help that look a little more even. I'm going to add this to the Cajun Craze cardstock, adhesive around all the edges, and you actually want to add adhesive where you think that square opening is going to be. So it's about here and here, because after you cut out that square opening, it seems like these edges kind of poke up a little bit. So we're just going to get this layered right on top. I cut the grid paper the same size as the Cajun Craze cardstock, and I took my Square Framelit. This is the one that measures, it looks like 2 5/8 square, and there's a little raised part here on the back that's going to fit right inside that opening. But when I placed it on the grid paper, let me do it like this so it's easier to see. When I placed it on the grid paper, I knew kind of about where I wanted it, and so I just, let me get that in the right spot. So I think you can see that it's just a little bit like 2 1/4 squares from these 3 sides. So that's going to give me a more centered opening than me just guessing when I'm putting it through the Big Shot. So now that we have this layered, we're going to place this on top, like this. We're going to take the Square Framelit, and it's going to kind of fit right inside that opening, and you'll know that it's in the right spot because it won't move. And now I'm going to run this through the Big Shot. And again, get that square right where it kind of nests inside that opening. There you go. See how I have this a little bit angled? I don't have it going this way because it is a little clunky going through the Big Shot, so I'm going to have this just at a slight angle. And again, make sure this is lined up to your Cajun Craze cardstock pretty perfectly. And then I'm going to tuck this in, set that down, and I do like to hold it right here as it goes through. So if you have any little rough edges here, just clean those up before you layer that down. And I'm just going to take care of that right there. Make sure you have a nice clean line. Sometimes you have these little paper threads from going through the Big Shot. See, like right that? And I just like to make sure that's all nice and clean. So we're going to add this to the front of the card. Be pretty generous with your adhesive. And then this is going to go right on top. So So now we need to cut the window out of this part, and I want this opening to be slightly smaller than the square that I've already die cut, so I have a little border of this rich raspberry. Now this square is 2 3/8 on all sides, and you're going to notice that it's going to fit right inside that opening. So just put that right in there, and again I just have it at a slight angle. Tuck in your top cutting pad and run that through. We're using the Rooted in Nature stamp set, and this comes with matching framelits. We're going to use this image and this image right here, and a greeting from a different stamp set. Using scrap Whisper White cardstock, we're going to take the single tree and rich raspberry, and might as well stamp the envelope too. We'll use Cajun Craze for the 2 trees and ink that up. I can't remember which stamp set this greeting is from, but it says just a friendly hello. Well, I don't want the just, so I'm only going to ink up this part going forward. So I'm going to take my ink pad and hold it up so I can see where I'm stamping the letter. So that way I can ink up just the part that I like. You could also mask the other part, but I think doing it this way, I should be able to ink that up fine. Oh, I see I got a little bit right here, so I'm going to clean that up. And I'm going to stamp that right here. This is a framelit from a set that I think is retired, but I've held on to it because I just love this shape. And you can see that it's going to fit this perfectly. And then I'll trim off the excess on the left side. The Rooted in Nature stamp set comes with coordinating framelits. We're going to use these 2 here. This will line up here. And these 2 will die cut this. So I'll go ahead and run this through the Big Shot, and I'll be right back. The inside of the card is Whisper White, 4 inches by 5 1/4. We're going to go ahead and layer that to the inside. Now I went ahead and die cut these trees, but I think I want to try stamping right on the inside. So I'm going to back to the Cajun Craze, and I'm just going to place this right inside the opening. And we're going to add dimensionals to the rich raspberry tree here. These are the mini dimensionals, so they fit perfect into these small little corners. We're going to add this right here. I'm going a little bit off center. And for that long skinny greeting, I'm just going to go ahead and cut the edge here. Okay, obviously I didn't have to cut that into 3 pieces. I didn't know it was going to fit quite that well. And then this one is going to go a little bit to the side. I hope you enjoyed today's project. For more ideas, you can visit me at KeenanCreations.com. Thanks and have a great day.